Don't know why that changed. I'm going to make sure it's all the way across for everything. Looks like it. Okay, starting over. Let me know if you can hear me now. Yeah, just turned off. I think maybe the reboot sometimes will throw OBS into a little bit of a panic and reset a certain peripherals. But anyway, again, thank you for being here. Happy Thursday. I hope you're doing well. I'm Ben. This is Ben's Brick Designs. Hello, Bev. Hello, Missy. Hello, Johnny. If you're listening in from driving to your racing thing, I hope you're doing well. Don't text and drive. Get somebody else to message while you're doing it. So today's a bit of a throwback. I haven't done this model and I haven't worked on this model in a while, and I was thinking about it the other day, and I was thinking maybe there are new pieces that we can try to work with to see if it helps out with the model at all. And so I have it pulled up. This is the CIS Vulture Droid from the Confederacy of Independent Systems. This is from the droid army that it was specifically started with the Trade Federation, was the first to apparently use this. And then it was used by, it sort of became the army for all of the separatists. But this is the official markings. The official markings of the separatists, the sort of gray and blue. And I'm gonna go ahead and warn everybody, this may be a short stream tonight. I've had a bunch of coughing going on the last couple of days. I think allergies really flared up with all the rain that we've been having. So if I lose my voice in the middle of it, I do apologize, but we'll see how far we can go. And this is about how far I got with it. It's not a great start. We still have a lot of work to do with it. But where I got hung up on originally was trying to make it so you could have it both flight mode and walk mode without like replacing anything. And the problem that I have with a lot of these Star Wars things is you can just see how delicate this is. These little components. And without giving it all that much structure, like this is just paper thin. Let's see if I can get a good... You can see how thin this is, and it's supposed to also contain like how to make it walk. So it's got to have all these bits in it to allow it to kind of walk. So it's the magical Star Wars metal and engineering that allows certain things to be hinged or supported in such a way that would never, be anything that we could do on Earth. Capabilities of our engineers or our materials to be able to do something like that. So got to try to make that work. So the original concept was, and I don't know if this will hold up, but having to get the legs far enough away from the ooh, yikes. There's also a storm going on here. I may lose power. Friends of ours lost power on the other side of the neighborhood yesterday, or this morning. I think it was yesterday. And I don't know if you heard that thunder, but that was crazy pants. That was right on top of us, and Beth is not happy. So I worked on this a little bit. I don't know if this is going to work very well. It's basically, it slides back and forth and clips onto these things. I may like try to figure out how to put more in here, but I have to try to keep it as thin as possible, because it needs to be really thin, but it also needs to have some support. So I don't know if this will work or not. I don't know if it'll hold it up. That's perfect. That means you know it's here and it takes a while to get to where you are. So the storm front it's already moved through. And we're on the just kind of the rainy side of it. The fact that we got any of that was kind of interesting. There's another little cell right behind it that we might get later tonight. Actually, probably in like an hour or so. So we'll see how that goes. And it might break up by then. We don't know. Anyway, so this is me trying to get a smooth front end, nice round shape. I think that works pretty well for the size. And then this is just kind of trying to figure out how to make that striping in there. This is obviously supposed to be like a gray plus some, some different shades of blue. Like we can kind of do whatever we want really with it. I don't know why that is white, but whatever. So this has been taking a lot to get to this point. I honestly don't know if any of this will work. So I'm going to keep working on it a little bit. The other thing that was kind of a pain in the butt was the head. The head's a weird shape. It's first of all, it's kind of a teardrop. If you look at it, it's kind of a teardrop, but it also, I mean, this is typical CIS battle droid head shape, right? If you look at another battle droid, they all have these kind of battle droid. They all have these weird heads, right? So they've got these sort of conical heads no matter what kind of droid they are. It's just sort of the signature of those droids, except for maybe that guy. But even the Vulture Droid has a head kind of like that. So making this has been kind of a pain because you want to make it one piece. You want to make it light so it can also raise up, right? But you make it a little scalloped on the back. Like I don't know what the back of this thing looks like. I almost feel like I have to get a toy to see what the back looks like. From here, it looks like it just kind of falls off the end of it, but it's really hard to see. Oh, I don't want that. It's probably a pretty good, this is just a toy, but it just goes back here, right? And the toy doesn't even the wings are supposed to separate, right? They're supposed to be closed. And then they're supposed to open up. And then in robot mode, it's supposed to be able to walk a little bit. Like that. So this head kind of curves off the back. So no matter what we do up here, it has to kind of curve a little bit. Also making these eyes as slits, that's, complicated. How do you add those in there? So this is kind of where we left off. And I don't know that this is actually pretty good. If I just group it together and see what it looks like up on top here. Put it right here. I'm taking a beat from, there's a designer named Darth Designer who does a lot of military vehicles and does this thing where he tries to do it but to scale. So this is kind of the scale I'm looking at. So it'll be about this long. This will move back a little bit. but you know, about that wide. I tried to go off the dimensions listed and turned each of the studs into like a certain unit of that measurement, just to kind of give it a perspective. But let's see, where was I? Looking at this one probably. So it comes through about the midline and goes all the way back. So this isn't too bad. So if I were to lower this down, you know, like something like this. This is about where we're at. But then also we have to figure out how to that might actually be a little too big, but it might be all right. I could even do without this little front thing right there, by the looks of it. Still needs the eye slits, but I was also thinking that maybe stickers or something. Anyway, so that's working on there. Also needs some sort of channel, and this was what I was working on here, to be able to put this inside the head and this down in here, so it could raise up a little bit when it's in a certain mode. The problem with the pieces that I have in here is they are not very... These are... That's just a regular old Technic pin, and that would get real loose. So maybe 2 Technic pins holding different things in place. Hey Chris, how's it going? Lego G.I. Joe stuff would be really rad, like just Generation 1, I say Generation 1, like the early days of Lego, or of G.I. Joe stuff, when it was like HISS tanks and the little like personal helicopters and the F-14 Tomcats. Lego will never make it because it's war, but I mean, somebody... I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's doing some stuff right now. So the idea for this is this would sit in here somewhere. This looks like I would have to make it go off a little bit on a jumper to get it centered. And then inside this, it would have to sit in, that's 3 wide, which is fine. It would sit inside there. Something like this, right? But then this would have to be anchored enough, and this would be sitting on basically tiles and be a cohesive enough single unit that you could lift it up, right? That not when you grab it, it crushes like a Cadbury or a Fabergé egg. Well, let's see what we got. Let's see if people are doing this. Yes, I will log in. New comment. So if we do, let's go to the main thing and do, ooh, that's nice. That's a nice one. Very good. The other thing is, Rebrickable doesn't really allow you to do a lot of like, they aren't really great for IPs because they have to be able to, be careful with how they list stuff. I mean, this looks really good. There's some early stuff, right? I guess it really depends on the vehicle. I do like that they've been able to make a Cobra Commando. They've printed that, man. So somebody's doing well with printing these UV prints. So that's pretty cool. I wonder if they've got any more of these. So it looks like they've been doing a lot, and they've got some Transformers here. There's the A-Team van. It looks like we've got an 80s fan. Got some Mask. Got the Mask Rhino. This is outstanding. Mask is another one that I'm shocked that we don't have more. We don't have that IP. I know it's older and people aren't really going to know what it is. Terrordrome. The Firebat. What is the Terrordrome? Yeah, that's true. Oh, the whole thing? Yeah, that'd be, I mean, first let's make some of these vehicles. Somebody did make a Firebat, and we just saw that little vehicle. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like somebody did specifically the Terrordrome. Looks like we got one thing. It's probably in here somewhere. Oh yeah. Retail price for the original toy was $50 for the 1986 version that came with the Terrordrome. So that's the only listing we have for. So there you go. Now you know that there's a market for the Lego Terrordrome. So in looking at these pieces, the only reason I thought maybe we could, because none of these are being held together. None of this is being held together. Is looking at all these, I just wanted to see if, like, I don't think I need that. That actually looks just as good. Get rid of some of these. Having it being a little flat in the front is not bad. If there were newer pieces that we could use in place of this, but without any of these, like, I don't know how any of these would attach currently. This all looks like it can attach. That can probably all attach. I don't know that there's anything really new since I worked on this last. Like, I like trying to put pieces out here, just out in the open to see, like, if it sparks anything. Like, these would be okay up here. I don't know. It's hard to tell. So Beth and I went and saw Mandalorian and Grogu just a few hours ago. And I liked it. It was fun. It wasn't, you know, great. It wasn't Andor. It wasn't Empire Strikes Back. But I don't know. I'd put it in mid-range. Like, it was fine. It was a good CB tier movie. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about the plot or anything. There are a lot of member berries. There are a lot of, you know, you point at the screen if you have memorized the first few movies like I have. The one complaint I do have is that it feels like there were a few characters that were not really needed. Like, you could have glommed a few of them together as one person and kept the story okay. It just felt like it kind of ballooned out a little bit. And I see a few criticisms that it feels like 4 episodes of, like, this is season 3 of The Mandalorian or season 4 of The Mandalorian, and this is just 4 episodes stitched together. And I mean, there were acts of the movie, but it didn't feel kind of like first, second, third act. It did feel like, now this bit of the story, now this bit of the story, now this bit of the story. And it just kept doing that, right? And then all those bits got wrapped up. So, but I mean, I had a good time. Like, X-Wings shoot, and, you know, there's no laser swords in it. One of the No, I'm not going to say that. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Beth had a lot of questions, and we did watch a prep piece ahead of time for it to help with that kind of thing. I think the only piece really that I have is, or that is new, is this. And that can go down, that can make that go down closer. But the angle is still wrong. So that would have to be like on the inside or something. This may be a point where I get too designy and hey, this, you know, look, but I mean, I feel like this is the process that you go through to do a big set like this, is to try to figure this out. So I think this is like, I think that's a good shape. I think that's a real good shape for that head. I just have to figure out where to put the eyes. Because the eyes are these straight slits, right? And these are these angled pieces. So I'm going to leave that for a second. Let's work on the legs. So ideally, we've got this side. So this is how they go together. This is the example. So when they're extended out like this, right? They push out of the side of the hull a little bit so they can twist. I don't really know, like there's no good explanation of how they do that. Like you can't really see how that happens. This is just, it looks like I wonder if I can do a real close image. You can't really see how that works. They kind of scissor together, but like I can't see the mechanism in here. And if it's just being moved by these little bitty things supported, there's no way I'm going to get a full Lego model that's this big to be supported by those little things. This is the magic Star Wars materials and engineering. You know, they throw a couple gears and couplings and stuff in here and leaf springs, and suddenly it works. So this was my idea of how to make it work, was that the legs are mounted slightly off like this, and then they rotate like this. So they're on these mixel joints, right? They'll push in, so this section right here pushes in, grips a hold of that, and everything flattens out. And then these last little things will twist, right? They'll rotate. These guys will rotate like this, rotating these two things basically like that. So this one will rotate up, this one will rotate down. I think that's the way I have it. Yeah. And then we get them side by side. And then you can put on whatever you want over here. So, given that, let's assume this all works, because I haven't played with it. I guess I could look at the way the wings work. That's a real clunky version of it. And the other thing is, I don't know what color I want to do it. If I want to do a CIS version, or if I want to do like the classic Trade Federation version in the tan, you know? I kind of like the original tan version. I think it's a little more iconic for like those who've seen the movie. That's a pretty good... I think the CIS version just is updated a little bit. Stronger weapons and hulls, probably. We also have to keep in mind that there's these little proton torpedo or rocket launchers snuck in here, so this may have to, like... You can't really tell, but I feel like it's also a very smooth gradient, right? Which is really hard to do like that. And I don't, there's no like big plates. Like if I were to look up rounded plates, you don't get really big rounded plates at all. That can be of any help. Like that's about as big as you can get for a rounded plate to make a big half circle like that. So I feel like a brick built version was probably good. But to make it like sloped or inclined and declined underneath, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. Unless you just put another layer of plates, like raise that layer of plates up and underneath. Because you can do it underneath too. Or do it two sides. That may be... That's some engineering right there. Like if you have it... Now that I think about it, it's not a bad idea. Have everything attached on a sort of circular plate on clips and bars so they kind of fall together, right? Well, one falls and the other one can kind of be put up almost like the dish on the Enterprise. Sort of the same feel. I think the dish on the Enterprise is a good test bed for this. So that's something we can look at, which means removing all of this and putting clips and bars up in here. Anyway, so if we were to look at these big old legs, I'm going to get rid of some of this chaff down here. I don't really need a lot of this. And this is my attempt to like, okay, let's just make it simpler, right? I'm going to take this all. I don't really need any of this right now. I'm going to take this all and put it over here, get it out of the way. Trying to raise it up a little bit too, because I don't like it when the floor bottoms out like that. I can move this out of the way. Okay. Give myself plenty of room to work with. Don't need that just yet. So let's say I am working on these things for now. So from the side, you've got these bits of engine pieces. So we're going to have to fill that in somehow, which would mean the inside, the legs themselves. So you can see the more I add to it, the less they're going to be able to be twisty and bendy. But we do want to make it so they have some greebles on here and some doodads and gigas and stuff. So I think this whole section here, because I mean, by the looks of it, this could even be a little, this could be bigger. So this little area right here that it's connecting to, like if we were just looking at it like this, can extend way out here. So all those mechanics and things, so much so that this is a 10. I wonder if I could do a 14. That wouldn't be too big. And again, these are being held by these little guys here. So ideally, what I want to do is, and these, all the colors can be changed just to make sure later, but just trying to get an idea of the mechanics behind it. Can't do anything with that. That's fun. is that there? That's there just for fun, just for show. Won't even let me put a tile there. Okay. Well, it's good to know. How about this one? Will this one let me do it? Nope, same thing. And what is that? That's just a plate, but that is kind of needed. So that helps that slide in there. Okay. Well, I did want these to be able to be held up. So what, the plate with a toe ball. Do we have a 4x wide one? We do, but it's relatively large. The other question is, do we have... Oh, that's what I'm using there? Okay, that makes sense, because that's going to be used over here. So it's everyone's weekend coming up looking like. What y'all doing for this weekend? There is an Austin FC game. It's the last one for the... until after the international break. I don't think we have another game until July. Colorado and Vegas are playing again tomorrow night. Vegas took game 1 4-2, and it was not pleasant, but we've got more hockey to play, so I'm only partially worried. Trying to keep it positive. But yeah, they didn't look great. Yeah, and then the lug meeting on Sunday. I have nothing built for it. This is like the 5th month in a row that I have nothing to bring to the lug meeting other than smiling faces and you know, doodads to have people give away stuff. So these big curve pieces are, I thought I'd be able to get them with, these are going to have to be brick built, and it's going to look not great. But I think the bigger you build it, the easier it is for you to do some stuff. So not these, but if you could make those like at an angle, or like half of that, those would be wedges. I wonder if I can get wedges in here. Slope, wedge. Like really big ones. Like this is the ones that they would make the small sets out of. So you just get 2 of these and Bob's your uncle, right? But we've got some newish pieces that I think would be useful. These are always going to be useful, top and bottom. You have to do left and right. These are newish. Do they come in any helpful colors? They do come in dark blue and olive green. Okay, so that's worth noting. Those are weird. Our build challenge this month was doors. I don't think I got seed parts, but I had an idea and I didn't get around to building it. But at the time I was playing Control, I think I was still playing Control. It may have been a little farther back. But in the game Control, you're basically in the Federal Bureau of Control. And it's very much supernatural, spooky kind of game where you're in charge only because it's really weird how you just sort of ended up in charge of this bureau. You showed up looking for your brother, but in the process, everyone just assumes that you're the new director. And now that I talk about it, I can't remember how you got picked as the new director. Anyway, you walk around and you discover new things, and you've got your service weapon with you. But every time you progress a little bit, you pick up new abilities. Super jumps and phasing stuff, and being able to kind of telekinetically throw things, and have shields and stuff like, or telekinetic shields. It's a fun game, and after a while you start feeling kind of like a god, because you're just picking up furniture and throwing it at soldiers, and they shoot a missile at you, you just grab it out of midair and throw it back at them. But the idea is that you are in control of this organization that keeps an eye on supernatural items. God, I really thought, and I was going somewhere with this. Oh, and so there's a little bit of a side story about how the entire organization came to be, and those aren't as big as I thought they were going to be. These are a little bigger. So I'm thinking of staggering these somehow. Something like that. And then you can put smaller ones up here. Maybe. And during you find a janitor who may he's part of this group, or he's very mysterious, and you're not really sure if he's it's just a weird game. It's really hard to describe. If you've read any SCP horror, collaborative horror, that's kind of what this game is about. If the SCP was now just an organization, and you're in charge of it, but you're only in charge to a point where you're trying to find your brother, right? The rest of this you almost don't even care about. You just want to find out what happened to your brother, and your memory's kind of dodgy, and it's the epitome of get thrown into a situation where you don't know where you are, right? Because she's obviously somebody who's in charge, but you don't really know why. Anyway, there's rooms in there that just kind of go on forever in different directions, and you can get lost in them. And the wallpaper's that OK Go video where everybody's dressed in wallpaper. It's that really bright red with the yellow ornamentation decoration on it. I know there's probably a term for that, but it's very gaudy looking wallpaper. But it's if you don't turn right, it's that maze in Zelda where you have to memorize the pattern, right? So, or else you end up at the beginning, or else you just stuck in there forever. So I thought about doing something like that with Lego, but that's hard to do with you've started over in your Lego maze. How do you capture that, right? There's another place you would go to that was the hotel, where if you're ever in a specific area of this creepy hallway and you turn a corner and there's a light switch. If you pull the light switch 3 times, you end up in this motel. It's a motel. And you end up in one end of the hallway and it goes to the other end. And there's 6 rooms here and 6 rooms there. And then there's the lobby in the middle with a desk. And nobody's ever in this motel. But you're supposed, it's another puzzle where you go to each room, you come back and ring the bell, you turn the clock, go back to the room, do something. I thought it'd be cool to have something like that where there was light coming through one way and there's just 6 doors and you don't really know what room each door is for. But again, hard to build with Lego. So just some ideas. These legs do got to be thick. And I don't think this is going to be good enough. It's got to be very smooth. And I'm not really sure. Almost like concave on the inside. These look like wedges, like it's scooped out on the inside, and then it's going to be really hard to figure out. Because then on the inside of this, it's all staggered. It doesn't look really good. There are pieces. Yeah, I'm not liking this. I'm not liking any of that. There are pieces that are, they're not hulls, but they're panels? Curved panel, maybe? Kind of like this. These may actually be pretty good if I get them in the right colors to be like the majority of it. They're kind of like this. They're actually really cool looking. Be pretty useful. These. I don't know what to call those. They're not wedges because they're empty on the other side. They're not, maybe they're curved brick. Does anything have a number on it? $41749. Yep, these guys. They're a wedge. They might be too small, so 8. 50. I don't know if you can like stack these. See, no matter what you do, I don't think we're going to be able to find any combination of, well, not with that attitude, of pieces that are already curved pieces that will do what needs to be done here. I just put in wedge and see what happens. Because nothing, like, nobody's building this big. If you look at any of the UCS sets, they're all... Like, I'd go get the A-Wing as an example, because it's very curved and sloped, but it's large, so they have to do these in segments and then get the segments to fit together. So there's not going to be any one piece that works like this. The problem is knowing which pieces will do that and filling it in. So, like, I guess, you know, you can start with it's the longest and skinniest wedge plate that there is. These guys probably. So if I were going to space these apart enough to where they would be, that's pretty good. Maybe a little closer together. Let's do one closer. Nope, that's 5. Let's do 6. 6 is good. Try to be even, that way I'm not painting myself into a corner later. So this is also going to repeat on the other side. They're just going to be these long things. Probably about that long. On top of it, it looks like they kind of slightly stick out in the front. Oh, there's the back. Look at that. Neat. So there's a little bit of a thing right here. That's good to know. Oh, I gotta save this image. But you see how thin this is right here? That's just, I don't know. This is exactly what I want to build. And these pieces, these mechanical pieces do separate a little bit. So I don't know how that gets done, but I think that's a pretty good solution. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, so this is a very long it goes all the way back. Past that head piece, and so if the head piece was on here, it'd probably go back to about here. And even longer. I'm guessing like that. It's about how long that's going to be. Alright. So, then you gotta do this. See if this works for everybody. Or if that's too not smooth. See how curved they are? And almost like they're bigger. This is a very big image, so let's see if we can zoom in on this a little bit. So there aren't very many pieces that are this long, but also slightly curved, you know? I was just looking at the A-wing to see if I get any ideas on that, but I'm not really seeing any. This is 8 apart. And these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, it's 12. 12 and 12 and 8 is 32. Are there 2x16s? Alright, so that could be the basis of it, and then we can maybe curve it a little. Are there curved plates? Nope. Round wedge. Of course not. Wedge plate. Curved. I already did curved plate. Nope, round plate. Something like this. Well, that's not a lot of options there. Alright, so the idea is to try to figure out how to make this a little more rounded. Also, it looks like there's divots on the front part of this for like the gun emplacements. So these divots right here. So this isn't even, so I'd have to make it a little bit of a little bit inside the wing slightly. Like if we did something like this. What is that, 12? Just playing at this point. This is what we do. I think that's entirely too big and not curved enough. But it needs to be about this size. So the other option is to do things like just trying to make this shape is such a conundrum. So this is just too skinny. In other local stuff related to stuff I'm working on, news, I was able to pack up all my stadium stuff in preparation for Brick Rodeo, but also to test it for our Bricks and Brews event in June. I'm going to make sure I can travel with it okay. It is... Oh, come on. It is 5 very big boxes and 1 slightly smaller box for all the roof pieces. I don't even know if it'll all fit in my tiny little car or not. So we'll see. So the other option is we can brick build this. With a lot of curved slopes. And I know it looked like we'd already done that, but we're just gonna make the shape. So this is the problem I run into, is this would be perfect if I could then get it to like go a little further down, you know? So the next largest one would be this. But again, these all round to the top. So you almost have to turn it slightly. to make it rounded enough to fit where you need it to be. So that's a good angle, but then you have to make it that big. And this is the biggest slope that I've got. It's 8, it's 10. I don't think they get any bigger than that. Well, there's an option here, so if we can do hinge, plate, I don't know which were the newer ones. 4302. 5, maybe this one. 7 teeth with bottom groove. I think this is the newer one. Find compatible bricks. And they haven't finished cleaning up all these with the A's and B's. They said they were going to. I don't know what angle these are. I think it's 12 degrees. So if I wanted to do this and do... I think that's 1 click. I don't think I can make this work twice. I can make it big enough. So this is our template for like how big we want it to be. And we can get it close. If I rotate it anymore, it's going to be too... And if I put 2 more up here, it's going to look janky. And we don't want janky. But I think this is on a better track than anything else. Now you just have to fill in this whole area. But you can do that with brick. The problem is this shape just highlights this line right here. On the inside, it just highlights this line right here. It doesn't take into account any of this curvature out on the edge. But I don't think there are 1x10 wedge. There aren't curved slope. Yeah, these are the biggest slopes. These are the biggest curves. So like I can't get one of those. One second. This is Rowan's key, right? The one with the brick separator on it? Cheryl was asking. Apologies, we're trying to organize taking care of dogs for people who are out of town. All right. We're gonna put a tiny baby bed, but I hope you're still streaming when I'm done. This looks so cool. Hey, thanks for coming by, man. I appreciate it. Good to see you. I'll be on another 55 minutes unless my voice gets out, which it just might. I can feel it. But yeah, I'll be here. And if not, I think I'll be back Sunday morning. I don't have anything going on Sunday morning, just a lug meeting in the afternoon. Again, this is going to stymie me. This is a good start, but I have a feeling I need to do something like get this all together and then like make a couple of them, but then they don't come to a nice point, right? I can make, it's almost like when you're making a blimp, or not a blimp. Blimp is this bag full of air. A Zeppelin with its framework, right? The framework, you know, it's not parallel lines. They separate from a point and come back around. So I could do this and rotate it and do a couple of them and rotate it, but it doesn't connect that skin all the way across. So I can't think of any new pieces. All the new pieces that I'm thinking of are small. So I'm back to thinking about panels that are like large balloon pieces, like the hot air balloon pieces. Stuff like, I mean, not exactly this, but, you know, stuff that can be used. Like this isn't a bad, this is actually a pretty good piece for this, right? If you see what I'm saying, how it's like scalloped a little in the middle. Like this would be great. You get like 2 of these, maybe 3 of these, and that's like one of the wings. But then you have to figure out how to taper all this down. And I don't know, you know, there's stuff like this. There's, I mean, this is jagged. This is way too rounded. This is not, this has got a big tall bit in the middle of it. So, I mean, these would be better, but it's very abrupt, right? These are just good, big, larger versions of that. I already got that one out there. And these don't come in the colors needed. Dark blue, if I was doing a CIS version, that might be helpful. These would be helpful. Maybe. Again, dark blue and dark bluish gray, so not in tan, but something like that. Yeah, panels might be the way to go, but again, unless I find kind of that magic fit. Because that, yeah, that's a good start, right? I think if I rotated them the other way. Or a combination of something like this. Like this, you know, start like that, and then... the problem is just filling in this area after that. So I feel like the way Lego would do it is getting, and I'm just spreading out now, and this is really hard to do digitally because I can kind of see it in my mind, but in order to rotate them right, or they would just build it like this. How far in was that? 4? Tiny baby. My tiny baby is going up to, they're 25 now, and they're going to visit the grandparents up in Colorado. Just because they wanted to. They're like, I haven't seen them in a while. I think I want to go visit the grandparents. Which means that I got a call from my grandparents, from my parents, saying, well, they're coming up. When are you going to come up? Well, and then we're like, I'll come up when I want to come up. I'm saving for a trip to the UK. You can't stop me. I also wish like these would include the angle so that you can search for more plates that have the same angle. Like, I don't know that this has the same angle or not. It doesn't look like it. This might. Yeah. So we'll do that. Oh, I did my math wrong somewhere. Right there. I have a feeling this is kind of how Lego would do it. But this is very heavy and it doesn't give you much in the inside of it. Man, I cannot count. That is 8. So it kind of gives you what you need, but again, it's not really rounded. It's too skinny. It's almost like you could fill that in with this. But yeah, packing up the stadium went well. I was able to take the roof off pretty easily, and all the roof sections sit in one box. And then each modular piece got its own box. And they got, you know, packed on the sides really nicely. So they don't shift too much. They got plenty of room. And hopefully, like, if I can just keep them kind of upright and not jostle them too terribly much, I think they'll survive pretty well, even if they get bumped around in a car or something. So here's hoping. I don't know how I'm going to get them all in my car, though. I think I can get them all in my car, like 2 in the back, 3 in the back seat, maybe, and then the other one in the front seat. We'll have to see. Because when I go to Bricks and Brews at the brewery, I'm not going to be able to take Beth's car, so I'll take my stupid little car. So the other thing is we have to be out of the Brutorium by 6:30. I told them that wouldn't be a problem. Or we have to be out of that back room. Like, I wouldn't mind packing up and just like going and hanging out for a little bit if everybody wants to. I think it's just gonna be me and Reggie. So I'm kind of hoping that the big stadium and then a bunch of play brick will be okay, because I can't really take anything else. I also am hoping I can get a couple other people. Maybe Ricky said he might be able to go too. But the library is going to have a lot of people, so that'll be nice. All right, let's move this back over here. This is really frustrating. I just can't think of how to make this shape. Like, this is the best shape. This is the best part of this. But this only works for like maybe this much in the middle. And then you have to start tapering it down. So here's another option. Is they're not big pieces. God, can I get any bigger than that? It's a really nice piece right there. That's a nice piece right there. Get 2 of these out here. If you repeat enough big ones, or see, the way most UCS sets go is also in the inside of them. There are clips and bars that allow you to make weird little angles that then attach inside, but you have to have the interior structure. So not knowing what the interior structure is just yet, it's one of these where, can I do this? The problem with doing it like this is this gets separated. I was going to do a swivel plate. And then rotate this just ever so slightly. Then there's breaks, and I don't know how to fill those in. But again, all I've done is recreate this. But maybe I could then how would that work? Let's do a plate. See, here's the problem with all Lego pieces when trying to make curves, is that you'll have a certain angle, right, where it'll say it's a 45-degree angle, or a curve slope. It'll start at a certain curve, either 90 degrees or some variation, but then at the top it always goes back to 0. So you'll never have like 30 degrees, 60 degrees, where then you can continue on to 0, right? It's always like everything is 0 to 90, 0 to 90. All the curves, right? Unless you get ones like this, which, you know, you can't. That's a great curve, but you can't carry it down to another piece unless you rotate that piece. And there's ways you can rotate this piece, but it makes it pretty. It won't make it big enough for this chunky thing, right? Like, we got to fill in this whole area right in here. And this angle is not big enough. So then you can what a hard shape to recreate. I thought this was going to be like a blow-off session. I'd be like, yeah, there's a lot of new parts. We can figure out how to do this. This is all good. The only thing I know for sure is this piece. Looks like it'll fit really nicely on the end. Look at that. That's pretty nice. That's a newish piece. So the only thing I can think is like maybe you could repeat this one plate up. But again, on the inside then, you won't have the nice kind of scalloped. So in 3 directions, it does this, it does this, and on the inside, it does this, right? Where it's still concave on the inside, but then the outside is more convex, right? So it's like a weird, it's like a really stretched out quarter of an apple that you've also scooped the inside out a little bit. And the only way to do that shape in Lego is by faking a bunch of different angles and just hoping that nobody notices the seams. Because if I start with just a base layer of these slopes, then at some point I can make a hinge here that makes it go farther down this way, but then the whole thing has to kind of has to taper. And if I don't curve the top, I don't know if that's easy enough to describe. So like, I could take this whole section. This is a good size, by the way. This fits with the size. If I can get it around the legs, it'd look probably pretty good. So going from this angle, and before anybody asks, I don't even really care if I save this or not. So I just like recreate this. I wanted the whole thing up here. And then to get one more down there. It's going to be bumpy. See the bumpiness of it? It kind of goes like wavy. And then maybe you could get these to overlap a little. Like if they're over the top of each other, they're connected on the inside. Actually, why did you rotate like that on me? See that way it snaps that rotation? Don't do that. Don't do that. I like you just the way you are. Is it this piece? Something is throwing it off for sure. I don't know what it is. But I'm going to fix it. I'm going to get plate under here. And then this. So I think I finally got Beth to watch Neon Genesis Evangelion only because a client of hers says that they really identify with it, and it's a very good piece of anime, which I think is hilarious because every time I'm like, hey, we should watch this anime, I think you'd really like it. She's, I hate anime. I'm like, okay. But client says that they really liked it, so she's gonna watch it. I'm like, whatever it takes, man. All right, does that line up? So that needs to be higher. One more higher. What are you talking about? Get on there. Okay, so now, so we see how this is slightly above that, right? Nope. F, focus. So now, I don't know what angle I've got this at, but so this is, oh, I needed to have that over more. Dang it. I'm never going to get this right. Okay. Okay, that should be good. Good. So now lessen the angles of these by whatever degree. But here comes the iffy part. Like, I don't know what this angle is. So it's 275, so 274. Is it slightly less than that? And then redo this angle. 278. And then redo this angle. And if you reduce them all by one, 284. Nope. So it kind of, and if we do that like a couple more times, I could have probably done 2. But you can see how it like, yeah, let's do, so instead of 1, let's do 2. So 275, 273. That may be too much. And then maybe these guys 1. Now the trick is I can do this in the software, no problem, but it's getting it to behave in real life. Like, how do I make that slight adjustment? I still think we could probably, What did I say? 273. $276. I mean, it's not, this would look cool at an architectural point of view. I don't know if I'm going to be able to really do this in real life. But and then put another one layer above that, and that's almost straight, and have it slightly less curved. Well, I wish I would have grouped one of these together, because now I gotta copy and redo this whole thing. Wait a minute. If I copy, yeah, can't be helped. Just gotta do it. We're gonna get this, and then these. Put that up there. And then I'm gonna do that. 1, 2, 3. Get all these guys. Okay, you don't know how stressful copying that much stuff is. I hate doing that. I absolutely hate doing it. So this is already at the angle that I kind of want it. It's a little less, but I could make it even more less. That makes sense. I can get these to connect the right spot. And then tweak this just to be, well, that's not going to work. Okay, so I need it to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's this one right here, and it's these guys right here. Okay, I don't know what was wrong with last time. So this will now be 271. This will be 265. Nope. This will be, no, that was right. 269. All right, so this is kind of more what I was wanting to do, but I wanted to do it in fewer pieces. Because now I can do another one here and have it be virtually straight. In fact, let's see if we can just make one that's just straight. So we're going to do this one more time. And we're going to do... I don't think it can be straight, but we're going to try it. Or see how straight we can get it. Oh, wait. Dang it. I was kind of hoping I could get a copy of one of these, but we'll just do this, I guess. Plenty of time, right? 20 minutes. So I don't think it'll work that way, but let's try to make this straight now. This will be a 1/16. It looks like we can only do 1/12. That sucks. Let's do 1/12. Lost the music. My cat is freaking out because it is obviously feeding time, Dad. And you are not feeding me. Why that's slightly off, but okay. Apologize for not being very chatty. Just trying to be thinking of stuff. Oh, well, that's going to present a problem. I won't be able to connect that one very far. What a giant waste of pieces this is. See, here's the other problem. Getting it to come to a point. Because if I add all these guys onto it, it's several different points. So it's still like, this is a good idea, but I can't make all those come to a point. I can't smush them into a point. Go ahead and save this. Go ahead and repeat all this on this other side just so I have a, because I want to see what happens if I flip it. Look at that. I don't know why there's a conflict here, but shouldn't be. There wasn't a conflict over here. Huh. I must have had these not as, yeah. Two, 6, 2, 2, 6, 5. There we go. So then, copy and mirror that. Looking at something like that. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not a bad shape. Again, there's no way to clean that up at the end. Unless you get one of these honking things. That's just a big dish. One of the, no, not even one of those. Maybe one of these. Something like that. That's just too big. Oh well. Oh, that's not too bad. Figure out how to attach it. Yeah, something like that. Okay, well, I think that's it for tonight. This was a good experiment. I think if you were doing like steps on the front of a building or something, or you wanted like a round dais up to a fountain or something, this would be kind of a fun experiment to kind of like see how they overlap and stuff. But to me, and also like if you wanted to have a bunch of different stripes on it, like this would be ideal, because then you could come in here and be like, you know, every third one of these is a dark blue, and then the rest are gray, and then some of, you know, so you could really mess with the striping a little bit, and that'd be kind of cool. But I don't like the seams, I don't like the jaggedness, I don't like the bubbliness, waviness, but we'll see. Just more experimentation, you know, we'll figure it out from here, but as always. So we'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out, Missy and Bev, for the most part. Publius Maximus, thanks for coming in over from Blue Sky. I appreciate it. I hope your kiddo goes down okay. Again, I'll be back on Sunday. Hopefully, maybe I'll work on some microfighters. I don't think I have any sets I could even like pretend to build. Like I got some older stuff, but it's whatever. But yeah, you guys take care. Have a good weekend, and have fun building stuff. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.